Hello, I'm Gary Pustejovsky and I work here at BWI in Schulenburg, Texas. Work here in the seed department and take care of all the seed responsibilities as far as labeling and sending off samples and just things like that. And here we are in my seed room. I'll go through quickly a couple of books that I keep, like on ryegrass and field seed. It's a full year of running. The dates there you can see 7/14 through 6/30/15. And what's in these books, one is ryegrass, one is field seed. All the ryegrass information as far as test are in this book according to item number, like FS 101. And then you got 101T. In the back of the book will be turf, and then of course the POs. All the POs that every truck or rail car, whatever we receive through this time frame is in this book that I use for contacting the vendor, maybe for tests. Same thing with the field seed. All the different field seed that we've received as far as POs are in this book. Receiving guys make me copies and they put them in my basket. I file them. They're all here. And in front of that is test. Maybe not all the tests of the seed, but a lot of the tests that I get are in here. If I don't have the test, the customer needs them, I fall back to that PO, find that PO, who the vendor is. I'm able to give them a call and get the test for a salesman or grower or whoever might need a test. So that's a real quick and easy way. When the date runs out here in 2015, I file these books in and back. I keep them for about 5 years. Rotate up whenever July 1st comes around, I get 2 new books and start over again. That being said, I also keep, if you see all my clipboards on the wall here, I've got different clipboards for everything. It just makes it a whole lot easier. I've got safety here, my safety stuff. I also take care of that, my fire extinguishers and stuff. Miscellaneous tags and tests, anything out of the ordinary is on that clipboard. This clipboard here shows my relabel request forms as far as from Scott's and Tecumali, Biologic, any kind of request form that you need to just get labels from a company that sends labels in, and it's probably 4 or 5 of them. Those are my blank sheets that I use to get these labels sent to me when seed is out of date. Then I've got incoming ryegrass. That's real big in the fall of the year. Any kind of incoming ryegrass, whether it's a PO or something special or a test, then maybe I got to print labels for. This clipboard here is just a miscellaneous whatever. A lot of times I keep my violations on there if I ask them. Luckily at this time I don't have it. You shoot over here, John Michael, you'll see that garden seed and send samples. Anything to do with garden seed over here, my list is on that clipboard, and anything as far as sent samples to Hulsey Seed Lab. I keep a record of what I send, and as it comes in I check it off, and that's on that clipboard. So the whole purpose of that is just to kind of be organized of what I have, you know. And when I look for something, I want to be able to grab it quick. I don't want to be fumbling through a bunch of papers or something looking for it. I want to be able to grab that clipboard and I know just where everything's at. That's the biggest thing. The other thing I was telling John Michael is I run every week. A girl in the front, Peggy, runs me a back order report for all the garden seed, and Dennis had her do this for me, and it gives a list of all the garden seed that's on back order. And I go through it and I'll pick out, you know, like 5-pounders or 1-pounders, and I'll look and see if I have 50-pounders of these items and I need to weigh them up, I can. You know, I'll weigh them up to cover the back order to get the seed sold. Now there are some times when it'll be a whole bunch of them. I may not weigh it up because I know that we're transferring some in that week or whatever. But this is a good way to just to know and see if there's possible way of me weighing up seed to cover these back orders. That's one of the reports. I guess one other one, probably all the branches are doing, you know, the lot control is real important here. This is a lot control printout. It's also on the computer that I use. It gives me, you know, the lot number and the dates of everything, and this is kind of what I follow as far as when it comes time to sample some items, because you're fixing to go out of date. You know, I got a couple of 4s over here that are going to go out this month, but they're probably ryegrass. You know, and maybe low amounts. One of these is just 1 bag. But anyway, it gives you an idea of what you need or what I need to send out as far as a sample and get results on it, so that I can get this seed updated and it's not out of date within that 9-month time frame. That being said, I think that'll about do it. Thank you. Let's go here. one other thing I was going to go over with everybody was in the summertime when we get ready to relabel and restack a bunch of ryegrass and stuff that we have in the back. What we do, you know, when we come to restacking, I go back to the back, and as the guys are pulling pallets down to restack and relabel, I'll get a label of each lot number that's back there. And you can see this Maximus ryegrass, how many different lot numbers we had of just one item. So it's up to me to figure out, you know, get this tag, get this old tag, get it, figure out how many labels I need, pull a sample on it, of course. I'm going to send a sample off, and then of course create the new label that I created for this year. So it's an easy way. I use cardboard, I use front and back. I'll put like one item. If it's a lot, it'll be on one side. On the other side might be miscellaneous items of ryegrass. Then I'll have one, like you can see here, we did a lot of oats. We had to use the large label to cover the large stencil bag. So I had to use a large label for this. Any label that I printed is on this cardboard piece of paper here. The old tag, of course, and the new tag. And so it's the easy, quick and easy way to keep up records with it. I also take me a legal pad, and it'll give me a count of, you know, I'll count how many pallets of each one. So if something came back later on, I could go back to that legal pad and say, well, look, I had 5 pallets here, 5 pallets on this date, so I got a total of 10 pallets of that lot number. Dennis or whoever needs to know, I can tell them that. And if we need to pull that lot number, I know exactly how many bags we got just by pulling that legal tag and looking on this board to see, in fact, if we did have that lot number. The other thing we do when we do restack ryegrass back there in the back, we usually do it early in the morning when it's cooler, and we have anywhere from 15 to 18 guys take down, well, we have one guy pull down, say, 36 pallets if it's 18 guys. And everybody goes back there. First thing in the morning, you go back there, you grab your 2 pallets of ryegrass, and you're going to restack them. You're going to clean them up, restack them, tags to the outside, of course, so that the old tag can be removed with the heat gun, and then a new label put on it. It's important to get the pallet stacked straight and neat, that it's on the pallet straight and neat. When I get through doing that, we shrink wrap it, we put cardboard up on top of it to keep the dust off. Once that pallet is completed and that guy did his work, we also initial each pallet. So the 2 pallets that you did, you will initial. So if anything's wrong with that pallet, we know who did it or who stacked it, or if there was a problem with it, we know who to go to get the job done right. And it's just a matter of knowing who did what. That's kind of how we do our relabeling, restacking of fall seed. Okay, here's another deal I wanted to show on the computer. Option 53915 I have, which all seed department guys should have. It's actually the lot control screen that shows all the items that we have field seed wise out in the warehouse is on here. In other words, when receiving receives any field seed, and it can be Lebanon, it can be Scots, it doesn't have to necessarily be field seed, it can be, you know, all vendors. It's in the computer or on the computer. And when they receive it, they enter, of course, the item code, the lot number, and the test date. So when receiving receives that, they put all those in there, and it automatically goes into the computer. Well, it's a real easy way for me to go in there to look at what we have out in the warehouse and see that, you know, which items are fixing to be out of date, or in fact, if we do have a particular lot number. And you can scroll it, and as you scroll it, you can see the different test dates. We're on 9 now, and it goes all the way through current, which is 1/2015. Let me back up a little bit. I'll show you. You see the expired date on some of these. Okay, when an item gets the inventory of an item gets to 0, like you can see here, FS109 went to 0. We have no FS109. The computer automatically kicks out all the lot numbers for FS109 because inventory is now 0. So it's no longer in there. The next time we receive FS109, receiving again will put it in there, and now because it's got inventory, that lot number be in there, that lot number alone will be in there. These will be all gone. That being said, it's just a great way to keep up with lot numbers and test dates in the computer. Occasionally you may have to add one manually, you know, sometimes, but for the most part, receiving takes care of receiving and putting the lot number and test date in there. Okay. Okay, here we are out here on L Road, the road that we keep all our garden seed on in the spring, or I should say I moved it out here in December to get it ready for night shift to pull. It's the easy way for them to come out here on the road and actually pull garden seed. And the way I have it set up out here is in order of number. You'll see here I'll start with 0045. The next item will be 006, 008. You can see 0105. 11 will go there. We don't have any 11 now. Then 12, and on down the line. Then you come up here to 20, 22, 23, 28, 29, and 30 is probably there. Here in the corner is 31, and on so. So all of my garden seed, you can see, is in order of number. You come to the next rack. 42 is the last one over here. Slip back down to this rack, and you start with 46. You go through. Then over here you get to 68, 70, 72, 74. That's how I've got this whole rack all the way down through, all the way through the watermelons. GS 742, I think is the last number. Goes all the way down this whole rack. Every number is in order. So if I come over here and I want to, I pretty much know, and I mean the guys, I also write down the number on the box. It's a quick and simple way to make it easier for your night shift guys when it comes to pulling to have the number on the box. You know, they know that all of this is GS. All you got to do is put the number down, 0741, 0781, 081. And them guys come here to pull, and they know they need 3 bags of GS 100. They come over here, and right here it is, GS 100. Okay? So it's a real quick and easy way. Also, our receiving guys, and the way I've got it set up here, I want to see all the garden seed that comes here. They receive it down there on that lower end, but it gets separated on a pallet. It comes down for me to the seed room for me to inspect, and I'm the one that puts it up on the shelf. If I'm not here, of course, Glenn, the guy, my backup, he takes care of it. But it's always Glenn or I that takes care of it, a seed department guy. That way we can see the test date, we can see if it was properly labeled. Whatever might be wrong with it, we'll take care of it, and we know what to do with it. So to me, it's very important that a garden seed or the seed department guy take care of all garden seed. Thank you. Okay, one other thing I wanted to cover too was overflow of garden seed. Of course, you can't get all of these items on the shelf at one time on their location. For instance, you know, I'll have GS 278.1 you'll see at the bottom. The location on 278.1 is actually up here at the top at 2208. I had extra cases. It's easier to put it on the bottom. In some cases, like we'll say GS 711 up here on top, there was no way I was going to get all of those on the shelf. So I do have items that are on overflow at the, on pallets on overflow that you can see that have a min and max set up for let down. Again, some of the guys that do let down, they'll come after me and they'll say, Gary, we got GS 711 and 243 on let down. Can you take care of them? And yes, I will. So at that time, I'll stock, pull GS 711 down and go ahead and stock it, and that way, night shift has inventory on the shelf that they can easily pull. So I guess my point is, you can't get all of it on the shelf. Whatever needs to be overflow, of course, you'll have to overflow. Okay, thanks. Okay, one other item I wanted to cover too was overflow with garden seed and a little bit of field seed up here too. When we get busy in this spring of the year like it is fixing to be now, I want all my garden seed in one area. I don't want pallets of garden seed overflowed on the other side over here where there's other merchandise. You might see some other items, merchandise overflow on this side. As I need holes for garden seed, if I need a hole on this side for my garden seed, I'll move whatever I need to move that's overflowed here, an item that might be located on this shelf, move it over to the other side, because again, I want all my garden seed in one area. I do not want to have it on the other side of the row or down the row or anywhere else. It's all right here. It's close for night shift to pull. It makes it easier for them, and it makes it easier for me to find it close to home. You want to keep all your garden seed in one area as much as possible. Thank you. Okay, here we are on my seed row again. and I wanted to bring in the idea behind putting a small label versus a big label. I like using the small labels here. I like leaving the top of what the seed is, the spinach, Bloomsdale, and the lot number. It's an easy way to always double check yourself, lot number against lot number, to ensure that you've got the right label and the right lot number on the right item. I don't like using these big ones when it comes time to relabel, because when you do that, naturally you cover up all that. The other thing is that you're actually putting on a bigger label, and if you don't sell this seed and you have to remove this label, it's much harder to get all that off. And then of course you can't go back with the little label, because the little label only cover part of it, and it'll be real sticky up here from the residue of the big label. So that's my idea of using a small label to relabel over the garden seed versus the bigger label. Okay, here we are in BWI in Schulenburg again, and I was going to go over with y'all again how we kind of label different bags. I mean, we all know we pretty much stick labels on paper bags. It's easy to do. The labels stick to them good. It's not a problem. Occasionally we run into where we rebag, or maybe we get in bags, poly bags, that are actually smaller maybe and harder to get to by sticking them on. Like you can see in this instance here, how the bags are, you'd have to actually get under to stick the bag. We've actually left the back of the tag on there and actually used a stapler to staple the tags on each bag, on each flap, so that it shows off better. Stapling it on is sometimes a better way to do it, because let's face it, sticking tags on poly bags, sometimes they don't stick, and you may get seed going out of your warehouse without a tag, and that's not good. You want your seed to be on there. So we occasionally, on some items, actually use a stapler to staple the analysis tag on the tags. Thank you. Okay, so here we are now. We got in some of this sorghum Sudan grass in yesterday, and we actually got in a whole truckload of it. And in this case, the whole truckload was one lot number. So what the receiving guys do is they print pallet tags. They go on the bottom of the bag, bottom bag of the pallet, and also a lot number tag. They get the lot number of the seed, which was 3014 in this case, and they go in WMS option 53901 and print a lot number tag. Option number 8 is what it is. Option 8, 53901. They print these tags, and they'll go out to the whole row of seed that they've got. They'll take this little barcode of the lot number, and they'll affix it to the bottom of this pallet tag, so that it's like this. They run all these, they fix all these up in the warehouse office. They go out to the location down the road where all this is at, and they take this tag and they actually put it on the bottom, not on the plastic. You want to put it on the bottom of the bag, and the purpose of that is when you have this pallet on location, you put it on the bottom bag, because as you're pulling maybe a few bags at a time, you want that pallet tag and that lot number tag to be on the very bottom bag, so that it doesn't go out first and then you don't have it. The reason for not putting it on the plastic is when night shift or whoever it is comes and cuts the plastic gets thrown away. Now you no longer have it. So that is the purpose of putting it on the bottom bag, on the bag itself, not on the plastic. Okay, here again at BWI in Schulenburg. I'm in the warehouse office here, and I'm going to go through the process of creating a barcode for lot numbers. And to do that, it's the 53901 screen that everybody should have, and it's actually option number 8, the 1x4 UPC code number. So I type in 8. Here it asks you for an item code. You don't need it. You simply hit enter, and it brings you to the next screen, which is going to ask you how many tags are required. You type in, you need 5 of them, you type in 5, and then of course whatever your lot number is. If you need 5 lot number tags of, say, 3014, 3014, type that in, hit enter, your label should print. And that's it.
And when you're entering the lot number, no dashes, no spaces, correct?
That's right. No dashes, no spaces. Just the simple lot number 3014 without the lot, dashes. Okay. Another, here in Schulenburg, we also don't ever mix lot numbers. We try to separate, when we go down the rail car, we separate all lot numbers on a pallet. Now when we get to the end of the rail car, there may be a few bags of each one. In that case, those lot numbers might be put on one pallet, whether it be 3 or 4, 2, whatever it is, we'll put it on there. In that case, we actually get a blank white tag, big tag, and then we will run the 3 or 4 different lot number tags, whatever it might be. We'll affix all 3 of those on a blank tag and place it at the bottom. So that night shift or whoever it is comes there, they know that this is a mixed pallet. They see the 3 barcodes or 4, whatever it be, of the different lot numbers. They know that it's different lot numbers on it. And they'll know that, and they'll know they need to look at whichever bag they pull to get the correct lot number. Thank you. Okay, here we are now in the seed cooler here at BWI in Schulenburg. And in here is where we keep a lot of about 50-pound garden seeds staying here, just the oddball stuff, the small amounts of stuff. I have racking back there. In December, I start moving all my garden seed out, with the exception of a few things like tomatoes and onions. They stay in here. But all my other seed that you see now maybe on the rack outside on the railroad gets moved out in December. It stays out on the rack through probably the end of April. When first part of May rolls around, I move it all back into the cooler, of course, for the summertime coming on with the heat and all. So these shelves back over here, the back area here, will be filled up with all that seed that was left that didn't sell will be in the cooler. So again, it'll be here from May through December till I move it out again the following year. We also keep our onions in here, of course, and miscellaneous field seed, bulk stuff, you know, bigger items. Like I had a bunch of peas in here this past year, still got a few peas in here. The cooler's actually empty now. Normally this whole section here, this big bulk section is full of seed once I move stuff back in. So it's seasonal things that don't sell. Maybe in the winter time I might move in here, and then in the summer move them back out because they're going to sell in the fall. And then the fall stuff, I may move back in here. So it's just a seasonal thing where you're swapping seed out, whether it's field seed or garden seed. It's just what I do here in the cooler.